guys, my name is Anna, you're watching SimCue, and without further ado, let's get into this video. So today I have a dumb idea for what we can build at this lot in Willow Creek, because this lot actually often bothers me, because when you load the lot, you see like this, but then if you actually build something, let's just quickly drop a few items in so you can see what I mean. What has always bothered me is that if you actually want to upload this to the gallery, I would think that this was the front, but actually the part with the windows is the front. So what I want to do is create a 2D home. Yeah, you heard that right. Kind of like the games where you can only move like left or right. I thought that that could just be kind of fun. Maybe it's stupid. It probably is. It is stupid. But the idea is that we have these quite small rooms. Honestly, I'm going to do like this so we can see them at all times. And then we just go from there. So my thought is that if they're mostly 2 tiles wide, we can have the Sims like walking in the front, and then we can have furniture in the back. The reason why I'm doing this room is because I do want to add an upstairs, so I feel like I need an extra little tile for a staircase. And then I'm thinking that this is the kitchen, this is the dining room with the staircase, this is the living room, and then this could be the toilet. And then even though it's a little bit weird, but we kind of need it for this, we could add like a terrace. So something like that. So basically same thing upstairs. This would be a bedroom, this would be big hallway, maybe office kind of thing, another bedroom, another bathroom, and if we wanted to, we could even do a little balcony. Yeah, so I hope you're following along for what my vision is. And I do think that we probably want to do this in a kind of more like cartoonish kind of style. I think that that could just be kind of fun since we're already doing this. So I'm a little bit torn about what to do with the roof. Do we kind of want to imply that this is almost like a dollhouse, so the roof also ends here? Or would we prefer to just imagine that this is for some reason a very narrow building and it actually just has a full roof like that? Now I do have to move the camera a little bit. This is not a challenge for me to like only build at a certain angle. I will be definitely changing the angles to build this house. So if we go like that, I mean, that looks good to me. I mean, it looks bad, but it's supposed to look bad. That's the whole idea. So for wallpaper, I think I want to go in with some wooden siding, and I thought it could be kind of fun to actually add some color to this place, make it pop a little bit, and again, give it that like cartoonish feel. Oh, I hate that it doesn't add, but I guess it's a quick solve. This does by no means have to be a base game build, so if we just add those, and probably also do it to this. And then for windows, I did just turn on the filter for base game because I feel like these will be more fitting, but I actually don't really know if we should add windows to this front or if instead we want to just do like glass so that this very much is just a dollhouse where you can see what's going on at all times. I have to admit that I do kind of like the idea of that. Let me just grab these columns again. Let's add those. Now for the kitchen, I would like tiles that are changing between black and white, but I don't like that this is more like checkered, that they are at a diagonal, and also it's way too fancy. I feel like this is a cheaper kind of house. So looking through the other options, I don't really like any of the other tiles. I definitely think this tile, I would like for it to be purely black and white. I think this is a little bit too grey for me. And then this just seems a little bit boring, but maybe we'll end up going with this. I think it'll make more sense when we actually have some furniture. So let's see what kind of cabinets, because I do want to add some color. So I tried out some different cabinets, but this one from the base game is definitely the best one. Now I don't really know about the color. As soon as I place it, I actually do kind of like the lime green, but I'm also thinking, should we go more pastel? I think there was also this one more teal color that might match the windows a little bit. And then a part of me also wanted to go yellow. So I looked through all of the colors, and whether you like it or not, the winner is going to be this lime green, because how often do you get to do a lime green kitchen? Now looking at the fridges and stoves, I think we might need to make some changes, because this fridge comes in this mint color and I want this fridge. It also has a matching stove, and I mean, otherwise I would never get to use these pieces. I think they work great with our pink tiles, but they do not work with these counters. So unfortunately, the pink for these counters is not exactly the same pink, so I don't feel like that would work. And then there is the teal color, but I feel like that makes this looks less minty, and they still don't really match, so that doesn't really work either. And so this is kind of crazy, but I found that out of all of these colors, what I actually like the best, even though it's bad, is this one with orange doors. So I have discovered this wallpaper from Parenthood, and I absolutely love it for this build. It's not fully mint, but I do very much like it. It has the pink that kind of matches the tiles on the flooring, and it also has the wooden baseboard. Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. But you know what I've just noticed? This, oh gosh, the light. This is a little bit orange, like this one. Yes. I just love to hate it. So I just took a short break to remind myself of which direction I really wanted to take this in, and I definitely want the more cartoonish look. So I redid the living room, and I am much happier with this one. I kept the gingham wallpaper, and then I added the carpet. Yes, the more teal carpet. I feel like teal mint is maybe going to be the color that sort of pull all of this together, and then also just a regular white table so that we can instead have these orange chairs, because a cartoonish look to me is just very bright and colorful. Now I still want to add the bookcase, but I do actually think I like the wooden tone of the red one better, so this time we will go for the red. I will also find the little accent table that matches, which is not here, this one. There we go. And then we should also add a couch. I still think this base game couch, but I think we should go for more of a bold color. So while I do like these like textured ones quite a lot, if it's a cartoonish kind of style, that doesn't really matter. And I think instead this bright blue, I do quite like that. I also want to add a TV. In the beginning I was thinking a lamp, but what screams cartoon more than having a penguin TV? So for the floor, I think a lot of people would probably think that it would make sense to have carpet, but I think I would actually prefer to have wooden floorboards, because then we can add a carpet. Is that just called the same thing in English? Rock. Then we can add a rock. I knew there was going to be a difference. Now I'm thinking, since we didn't get to do a lime green kitchen, we could go for a lime green bathroom, but then again, this just isn't very strong in color, and there is also this like fully mint with all of these like small teeny tiny tiles, but I also kind of like this one where this color pops a bit more just because it is a bit darker. So I don't really know. I think now looking at them, I do like this like full tile. I mean, we could have this as a full tile, but that might also be just a little much. Yeah, I think in this color as well, because I'm pretty sure that the base game has some very colorful toilets and sinks that is going to look quite nice, if that is the right word to use for this tile. But let's also get some flooring. I think maybe the pink, you know, really get those colors from the kitchen back in here. And then I'm thinking, honestly, I'm pretty sure there is like a yellow toilet. Yes. I think this might be perfect. And I'm pretty sure that there is a matching sink. Not this one, so not this one either. Okay, so I think this is the matching sink, but that requires us to have a counter, so I will have to find one of those first. So I wanted quite a cheap shower because I don't want this to be too expensive, but this clearly matched that other sink with the bright colors. And then this, I was like, okay, this is green, but it kind of looks yellowish. I think the game is actually trying to tell me that this one, even though this is what I would consider kind of a cheap toilet and kind of a cheap sink, this shower is much more on the expensive end, but this is clearly what matches if we want the yellow, and I do kind of want the yellow. And also we need to move the toilet so that the shower actually works, because they have just decided to never ever make it so that these showers can open from different sides. I feel like the sink is simply a little too big, and now that we both have the yellow here and the yellow here, I think it might be okay if we just go for a regular like white sink. And then as I was talking, I just remembered that this one from Parenthood, a pack that we're already using, actually has this underlying color and this one is yellow. So, I mean... So this room here is going to be the master bedroom because it has an ensuite. And I think that means that we also want some carpet in here. And I'm, to begin with, thinking maybe this a yellow color. So because I don't really want to add too many packs and because I don't want it to be too expensive, I honestly think that these cheap ones from the base games are the ones we're going to go with. And I found that this color, I feel like parents could definitely have this set of bed sheets, was the word I was looking for. I think this is too bright. I would like for it to have more color. And I think that may be also why we want to go for this one, even if it doesn't match the sheets, like I said in the beginning. But we do just want some brightness. We could also go purple. Nah, could also do the blue instead of going back to mint. Though something draws me in. I'm not normally like a fan of this mint color, but I kind of like it because it's so bright. But maybe we should just go blue. And then for the sink, we probably want to get kind of like the same sink. Oh, but this comes in mint though, because we could do the exact same thing, but then have it match like this. I'm kind of liking that. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. So this is like the flooring we have in the kitchen, but I do kind of like that. There is also this option that is fully pink, and maybe that is a little bit better. So again, adding back in the glass. And then we just need a tile floor. So for the flooring, I think we have multiple options. These are almost the same. With this one, it's like just all the same color, and this kind of have different nuances. It comes in this blue one, and it also comes in this slightly more greenish, almost minty. So we could make it match, but I do think I like the blue better, just so that we're introducing more colors. We could also go for this one. This is the same in the kitchen, just with the blue, and I do kind of like that. And technically these tiles also match the walls. But we could also go kind of crazy, because I was thinking, you know, adding in the yellow that we have in the one downstairs. I kind of like it. So we could have penguins, we could have small animals, we could have just flowers, we could have like savannah with butterflies, we could have dinosaurs. That is cool. I have been told that every child loves dinosaurs, so maybe we want to go for that. And then we will go to the kids' room. Should we do a toddler? Because if we do a toddler, we actually have a bit more space, because that gives us 2 tiles to add something else. Oh, I'm looking for toys. Toys? Yes, this. I want this. And then they have a little teddy bear. Yes. I mean, they clearly have a dinosaur theme going on, so let's just go for the dinosaur, and then we're done because there's not any more space. So since we're already using Parenthood, I feel like this one, and then, I mean, we could introduce our mint again. We do need a potty, so since there's no space in the bathrooms, let's just add it out here in the hallway. What a lovely spot. Let's do orange. And then let's also just add these blocks, because they are great. And then in here, we could of course add something. We could also not. There's the red. I like these the most. We haven't used the pink one. I've decided that they do not have a color desk because it doesn't work for me. But they do have a computer. A cheap one. Yes, just like that. I just also... Okay, let's go yellow then. Let's go yellow. Change it up a little bit. Not like we don't have yellow anywhere else in the house. It just seems a little boring. So I just added the railing, and then I looked through the catalog to think of what else we could add. And then of course I stumble upon the easel, because we do not have any activities in here, and how else are they really going to be earning any money without an easel? So let's add that. And I even think, yes, this comes in blue. So here we are. It is Anna from the future, or Anna from the past when you are watching this. But for me, it's been days, I think over a week since I last worked on this build. But now I am back, finishing it up and finally doing the voiceover for this last part of the video. And I do think that I mentioned in the first part of this video that I would be doing this as a voiceover, because it's just a little too much for me to try and decorate and talk at the same time, because it's just going through so many items, and I swear I look like this all the time, just frowning and just scrolling up and down the catalog. It's really not that interesting. And I also just have to admit that I thought it was going to be a lot easier. I think a lot of creators make it look super easy. I guess they just practice, because I find it super difficult, and I find myself being like really slow when I try to build and talk at the same time. So you will just be seeing this as a little bit of a speed build. But I think I also mentioned that we would then be coming back later and finishing the outdoors together. But when I was editing this, I noticed that the video was getting a little too long considering what kind of video it is. It's just a really like dumb, silly build that I wanted to do. So I have to admit that I did that as a speed build as well. So we will be finishing up with a voiceover, but you will get to see everything. Now for decorating, what you're seeing is that I'm basically going through each and every single room with the regular catalog and just placing down as many things as possible with it still being functional. And that is also why there will be just a few changes from when you're watching this clip to when you're watching like the final little clip of the house, because I did playtest it and there were unfortunately a few items that had to go, but overall it's pretty much the same, and I really like how we managed to clutter up everything. So after having gone through the regular catalog, which is still what I'm doing here with the bathrooms, we will go back in, go over each room once more, but going through the debug catalog. And I really feel like that just adds the finishing touches. And to be honest, there isn't really that much else to say about it. I really just wanted to clutter up as much as possible because I felt like that was very fitting for the build. I guess I should mention that when I later moved the house for like doing the outdoors, some of the items did disappear. I have replaced them, but it makes me a little bit worried that maybe if you download it, some of the debug items might disappear, and that is of course such a shame, but there's not really anything that I can do about it. It was especially a problem in the kitchen, so I did try to hopefully solve the issue a little bit by placing some of the items on regular tables and then sizing down the tables and then scooch them into the counter. I did playtest that everything still works, so I do hope that means that more of the items are likely to stay, but I don't really know for sure. But I have to admit that I'm also just okay with this primarily being a fun little thing, and maybe it works best as a video. Like honestly, I don't really know who would like to play with it. I mean, I think it could be fun, but you would have to probably make a pretty silly play with this. But anyway, these are some of the debug items that I placed all over the house. Everyone has access to them. Most of them are from the base game, so that's not going to be an issue. And also for this bathroom, I noticed that everything stayed in place, and I think it's because it's like slotted to a proper spot, so it was kind of locked in. I don't really know, but I'm very happy that it stayed. Now moving on to the outside, I didn't want to do too much, but we did of course have to like finish the place and also add even more items to sort of continue all of the clutter. Now even though it is just a very silly build, I am kind of happy with how it turned out. I loved playing around with all of the colors, and I do think that they somehow actually kind of match, so I guess that worked out as well. Currently working on a little like terrace space, adding in a grill and a little bit of furniture because I did want to have an outdoor space as well. And we will even be adding the tiniest little bit of garden. I was originally thinking about placing a pool, but I guess I made the house a little bit too long for that, so there wasn't really space. I mean, there is a lot of space, but we just have this like continuous line, so we only have this little teeny tiny space at the end, but I do like that they kind of have a garden space. And then here for the front, I have to admit that for this specific house, I absolutely loved the mailbox that we got with like a recent event, because it almost looks like the house. And that was not planned whatsoever, but adding in the final details, and then this footage is coming to an end. I will just leave you with the last clip here, and then I wish you all a lovely day. I hope to see you next time, and bye!